on Facebook. Say hi. All right, so we are starting. Yay! Hello, YouTube. Hello, Instagram. Hello, Twitter. And we are on Facebook. Happy Friday, y'all. I'm not going to waste too much of your time. I'm going to do my introduction in about 3 minutes. Let y'all have a chance to come on into the room. As I was saying to everybody in Facebook land, I want to apologize to everybody in YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter land for not getting on tomorrow. As I said I would, circumstances were beyond my control, and I just couldn't get on. But we're doing it today. We're going to get her done. I'm giving y'all till 5:30 to kind of, trickle on in. Yeah. So that's what I have going on here. Let me do not disturb on my phone. Do not disturb. All right. So Facebook is all set. How's everybody doing today? I know it's Friday. Y'all are out here. The weather is actually kind of yucky here. It's been raining all day. Hello, Jock. Hello, G Green. It's been raining all day. I didn't even take a break today because it was just raining outside and there was nowhere to go. Yeah. But I hope that you guys are having better weather where you are. Hello, Tibet Ocean 90. How you doing? I am doing a makeup broadcast today. Not like face makeup, like a makeup because I wasn't on yesterday. So I am making up for yesterday. So we're going to get started. Hello, Facebook. We're going to get started in less than 60 seconds. At 5:30, I'm going to give y'all the signal to send this out to your friends, and we're going to get started. We're going to have a quick show, probably 30 minutes, and then we're going to do short Q&A. And then I'm going to let y'all get to your Fridays, okay? I'm very sorry about not being on tomorrow. Won't happen again. It was just literally beyond my control. All right, so it's 5:30. If you guys are in the room, share this out to your friends, family, co-workers, people you like, people you don't like. Happy Friday, everybody. I am Natalie Pierre-Louis. You are watching NPL Legal Dish, my twice-weekly broadcast where I teach business and legal concepts for entrepreneurs using celebrity and pop culture news. If you're wondering why I'm doing this, I'm glad you asked. Again, I'm Natalie Pierre-Louis. I'm the owner and operator of NPL Consulting LLC, a business formation firm. What that means is I help creatives and entrepreneurs get their business foundations together. So if you need to get registered with the state, if you need contracts, if you need to know how to hire employees, if you need to protect your intellectual property through patents, trademarks, and copyrights, if you need non-disclosure agreements, if you need to know how to get an EIN number, I help you do all of that foundational stuff. You may be asking why I'm qualified. I'm so happy that you asked. I've been a licensed attorney for over a decade. I have started multiple businesses for myself and others. I have had many careers in the realms of education, entrepreneurship, the law, hospitality, and administrative support. And the most important part is I'm very passionate about making business and legal education as accessible to everybody as possible. Not everybody has the time, the money, or the desire to go to business school or to law school, but a lot of you have amazing business ideas. And if you're going to make it in business, there are just some things that you're going to have to know. No way around it. And that's where I come in. If you want to talk to me about getting your business life together, please go to the link in my bio, linktree/NPL Consulting Firm, linktree/NPL Consulting Firm, linktree/NPL Consulting Firm, and book a free 15-minute consultation with me. At that link, you will also find access to my podcast, back episodes of NPL Legal Dish, sneak peeks of my ebooks, and the link to advertise your business on my show for starting as low as $3. All right. So now that I have shilled my wares, we're going to get to the show. Like I said, I don't anticipate us being on here more than 30 minutes, and I'm going to do about 5 minutes of Q&A. So let's get started. All right. So this week, I saw a lot of people posting this long diatribe on their Instagram telling Instagram that they don't give them permission to use their pictures or photos and da 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 da. I'm here to tell y'all today that that is BS, and I'm gonna say the whole word is bullshit. Look, stop putting these disclaimers up. They mean nothing. When you are on someone else's platform, the minute you sign up for these social media websites, you give away a lot of your rights. It's in the terms and conditions that most of y'all don't read. These disclaimers mean absolutely nothing. It's like going into somebody's house saying, saying, here's what I'm not going to do in your house. Are you kidding me? What would you do? Like, no. The Instagram disclaimers mean nothing. Same for the ones that y'all post around on Facebook. Like like if somebody came into your house, this is how I want to put it to y'all. If somebody came into your house and started dictating to you everything that was going to happen in your house when they didn't set up the house, they didn't build the house, they didn't pay for the house, what would you say? You would say, get out of here. And that's what I'm telling everybody who puts those Instagram disclaimers up. Get out of here. You're kidding yourself. Don't do that. Like, it's real. Like, I get very frustrated about that because the reason why things like this happen is because of misinformation or people not reading. If people took the time to read the terms of service of these platforms that they sign up for, they would realize that they have given away those rights a long time ago. On top of the fact that y'all be putting your pictures all over the internet, people screenshotting, sending them to other people. You think Instagram's the only person that you got to worry about? You got to worry about those people who are talking behind your back. Don't worry about Instagram. Instagram just wants you to buy ad space. So stop putting those IG disclaimers up, please. I would really, really appreciate it because it's just, it shows a lack of thoroughness. It shows that you don't know what you're signing up for when you get on these things. Okay? So maybe I was a little bit harsh and I apologize for that. But, sometimes you need a little bit of medicine to help you understand. So stop putting those IG disclaimers up. All right. Now, next thing we're talking about is a follow-up story. So when I was on Tuesday, I talked to you guys about this furniture company named Parker House suing Costco and their furniture manufacturer Kuka for copying their Parker House, Parker Living Spartacus collection. And it was a sectional sofa. And at the time, I didn't have the picture of the sofas. But what I did was I went back and I did some research and I got the pictures and I posted them in my IG and my Facebook stories and had you guys vote on whether you thought the sectionals looked the same. And it was a 50-50 split between you guys as to whether the sectionals look the same, which bolsters Parker House's argument, because if the average citizen can look at those chairs and say they look pretty similar to me, it means that Parker House is right in saying that Costco is infringing on their design and they're using their name in it. Why are you going to take our company name your sofa after it, and copy the design of our couch? So I don't think that Costco is going to be very successful with this, but we'll see what happens. So Tibet Ocean, you here, girl. I want to know, what did you put up that Instagram disclaimer? We're going to talk about these two cases at the same time. Tibet Ocean, did you see the Instagram disclaimers, or did you put one up on your social media at all? Have you seen them going around? It says I don't give Instagram the whatever, and all this nonsense. And if you did put it up, don't be shy, because I know plenty of people, personal friends of mine, who I saw them put that stuff up, and I reached out to them personally and said, you need to take this down. This doesn't mean anything. Okay. So you haven't. Good for you. So, and in the future, I don't want you to put it up there, because it's literally it would be like you coming into my house right now and telling me what you're going to do with my house, because that ain't going to fly with me. But yeah, so tell your friends, Tibet Ocean, if you see them post this Instagram disclaimer, that it means nothing. All right. Now, my second question for you, Tibet Ocean, is did you watch the show from Tuesday, and do you know about the Parker House couches? Bum, 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 bum. Because I know that I'm not sure if you were on at that time, um, or if you had a chance to watch the replay. Ooh, why are my socks wet? Okay. Ah. Okay, you weren't online. Okay. Well, there. So if you get the chance, if you want to look up, here's two things I want you to look up. Look up the Costco Parker sectional, and then look up the Parker House, Parker Living, Spartacus Collection sectional. And I want you to look at those two sectional couches and decide for yourself whether Costco is infringing, because that's the whole crux of the case, is that Parker House is saying Costco copied their design and then named it after their company. So, and I don't know if you remember the episode that we did where we talked about Tiffany suing Costco because they had a diamond ring there and in the description it said Tiffany. So this is not the first time Costco has done something like this, and people are coming for their necks. Yes. Okay. So the next case that we are talking about, it's has to do with oh, this is something that I was really interested in. So all week long, I've been hearing about, Spider-Man and him leaving the MCU universe and what that means. And people are like losing. You remember the Tiffany story? Yeah. So it's the same thing, but with a furniture company now. Yeah. So I've been hearing all week long about Spider-Man leaving the MCU and what that means. And I was really interested in the trademark aspect. So I found a Marvel expert and I talked to them about Marvel's history with all of these companies to figure out what was happening. So we're going to go over that, and then we're going to talk about how the trademarks come into play here and your intellectual property rights. So at a certain point in time, I guess in the mid to early 2000s, Marvel was not doing well, and they were going bankrupt, and they decided to sell off a lot the movie rights to a lot of their characters to different companies, because they wanted to make movies as well, but they didn't have a studio and they were going broke. So that's why you had Fox owning X-Men and Sony owning Spider-Man, and I don't know who else owned what, but basically Marvel, whenever you saw these movies come out, like the X-Men movies and the Spider-Man movies and all these other movies that were based on Marvel but were produced by other companies, it's because Marvel sold their screen rights to these movies. Now, it doesn't mean that Marvel sold the whole characters. What it means was that because Marvel still got the merchandising and they got a percentage of profits when these companies made movies. But in terms of who was allowed to make movies for these characters, Marvel sold those rights off. And they sold the rights to Spider-Man, to make movies for Spider-Man, to Sony. And in that agreement, Sony had to produce a certain number of films a year, or within a certain, or every few years. And that's why you saw, maybe 2 or 3 Spider-Man movies come out and then they would reboot, because Sony was basically just trying to crank out the movies so they could fulfill their contractual obligation with Marvel. Marvel's like, okay, we're going to let you do the movies, but you have to do this many movies in this many years, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And then in return, Marvel got a percentage of profits from Sony, and they got the profits from, merchandise and things like that. Okay. So now, Spider-Man became a big hit for Sony. Like, I remember everybody was going crazy over Spider-Man. You had, what was that boy's name? The first, Tobey Maguire. And then you had, there's like that Tom Holland boy now. I don't know all the Spider-Man. Spider-Man is probably my least favorite character in the MCU universe. Tibet Ocean, if you're a Marvel fan, you can let me know what your favorite Marvel character is. Um, okay, so Sony is making all this money with Spider-Man, but then Marvel starts to Marvel got their own movie studio, and the first movie they came out with was Iron Man. And Marvel started to do really well. They actually started to do better with Sony. And the last few movies that Sony put out for Spider-Man, they actually collaborated with Marvel because their sales were plummeting. So Marvel had to pitch in and help Sony, tell these stories. So that's why you had Miles Morales and I don't know what the other ones are. They Far From Home. Those were in Sony and Marvel working in conjunct together with each other, as opposed to Sony doing their thing and cutting Marvel a check. All right. So now you've got Marvel and Sony working together, and Marvel is starting to do better than Sony because remember, Marvel has this 20 film arc of movies that we can choose from. You got all the Iron Mans, the Thors, and all that stuff, right? Now here comes Disney. Disney scoops up Marvel. All right. Now remember, and Disney scoops up Marvel. But Marvel still has the agreement with Sony, but part of the agreement is that every few years they can renegotiate the contract. So now Marvel's contract with Sony was coming up, and now that they were bought by Disney, they were like, I think prior to this deal, someone told me they were making 5% off of the movies. Someone else told me 45%. All I know is they were making less than half from the movie proceeds, right? But then they started helping Sony make the movies, and they're like, well, we're helping you make these movies, and we got bought by Disney. We want 50% of the movie profits. So Sony has refused. Sony nixed the deal. So Sony still has the rights to the Spider-Man movies, but because Sony has rejected the deal with Marvel, they can no longer mention any of the Marvel Universe characters. So if let's say Sony goes ahead and they don't cut a deal with Disney and Marvel, and they make a new Spider-Man movie, they will not be able to mention any of they will not be able to mention any of the Marvel Universe characters. So they can't mention Thor, they can't mention Captain America, none of those things. Essentially, Sony would have to create their own universe because they have rejected a deal with Marvel. So they can still make the movies, but they're not going to be able to use the entire Marvel comic universe of characters. So that might mean that they have to, totally revamp Peter Parker's story or have another person, or it would be totally different. And I just don't think it's a smart move for Sony. So what I want to know from you guys is, what do you think of Sony's decision to reject Marvel's proposal for a 50-50 split? I think it's really interesting how they divide the rights. It's like Sony can sell the movies, but they don't get any money from merchandise. They can produce the movies, but they don't get as much of the credit, I would say, as Marvel does, right? But they've been putting all this money into producing the films. So maybe their argument is that, we've been producing these films for so long, we've been coming out of our own pocket, and you guys were benefiting, and now you want to change the deal. But of course, if you're a more powerful person, you have a little bit more leverage. Disney is a very big giant. I don't know how Sony thinks they're going to go up against Disney, but I wish them the best of luck. So the reason why I wanted to go through this story is because I was a little confused myself. While I am a Marvel movie fan, and I've seen a lot of the MCU universe, the movies, I had no idea of what was going on in terms of production of these movies and how they had been sold off and how that affects Marvel to this day. So I think it's a really interesting case in copyrights and trademarks and what you can use, because essentially if Sony makes a Spider-Man movie and they mention a Marvel Universe character, they could be sued for trademark infringement, because you're not supposed to be, because since you have rejected the deal with Marvel. Marvel said you can't use our stuff anymore. You're not in the house anymore. But yeah, so that I thought that was very interesting about the Spider-Man story. Okay. So we are going to move on in a moment. Do you have any? Hi, Haitian 420. How you doing, Zol? All right. So we are going to move on to our next stories. This is the story of Soda City. So this is there is a city in Columbia, South Carolina, right? If you have ever been to the Columbia, South Carolina, give me a C in the comments. So Columbia, South Carolina has the nickname Soda City. And in Soda City, High DC Dank Factory, they have the Soda City Market, and they also have the Soda City Comic-Con. Both of these events are run by different people. And over the course of the years, there has been confusion between the Soda City Market. You've heard of, okay, cool. There's been confusion between the Soda City Market and the Soda City Comic-Con. So sometimes people will tag them mistakenly. Your grandmother's from there? Dope. Sometimes people will mistakenly tag one event company from the other. People will, contact one company looking for the other company. So there has been some confusion. Now, Soda City Market came first, right? And while they want people to use the Soda City name, they don't mind people using it. They still want to protect it for themselves in the area of food events. So what they have done is they have taken the nickname of Columbia and they're trying to trademark it. So they're trying to trademark Soda City with a bottle cap shaped logo. And they've said, like I said, they don't mind current businesses like the Comic-Con, but they want to stop other companies from coming in and using that Soda City name and capitalizing on it because they feel like they have built up the Soda City name. They came up with it. And they don't mind it being used for public purposes. So like the city uses the Soda City logo on the city buses, but they still want to protect their name. And this is very important because remember I told you guys that if you don't do your best to protect your intellectual property, if it becomes too popular, you can lose the rights to it. I always use the story of Baby and Bling Bling. He always said, had he known how big Bling Bling would have gotten, he would have trademarked the word. And look at it now. It's everywhere. There's absolutely no way he could trademark it to this day, right? So Soda City Market is trying to trademark Soda City for food sales and event management in that city. And I think that's very smart of them to kind of, tamp it down because they created the logo, they came up with the nickname, and while they want it to be something that the whole city can use, they still have to protect their rights as an event company. Okay. So even if you are trying to do something for the community, you still want to make sure that you protect your rights in terms of what you created. You don't want somebody to come and scoop up your idea. And because you were trying to be, because you were trying to serve the community, you gave up your rights. It's still important to protect your rights, even if you're working for the community. All right. Okay. So the next story that we are talking about, so someone sent this to me on Facebook, and it was a story of a woman who was complaining about, too many words being trademarked, right? So if you do not have my trademark toolkit ebook, I would suggest that you get it because when you go to that ebook, I give you the link to the USPTO website where you can look up trademarks, right? So in this article, this woman had looked up the trademark and someone was trademarking the word dogs. And her article was, basically like, they're trademarking everything. How am I going to do this? And it was very obvious that this person did not understand how trademarks worked. The person did not say, well, what are they trademarking dogs for? Now, because I've been on a very hectic schedule the last few days. I wasn't able to look up that particular filing for dogs. But when you are filing a trademark for a word, it's not just like you can take it for everything. It is for your specific industry. So if you guys remember the whole kerfuffle about Kim Kardashian when she was trying to trademark kimono, or she filed the application for kimono, she wasn't taking ownership of the word kimono. She was trademarking kimono for the purpose of selling shapewear. So it wasn't like if you used a kimono in a story, she could sue you. It was just if you tried to come up with a shapewear line, you weren't going to be able to name it kimono. Now, obviously, she decided to drop the name, but everybody was up in arms saying it was cultural appropriation and she can't just take the word. She wasn't taking the word from everybody. I don't agree with what she did, but she was just trying to trademark it for that particular industry. And that's what you guys need to understand for trademarks is you can only trademark in your industry. So Apple computers, right? They've got the trademark on Apple for tech and things like that. But they don't have a trademark for Apple when it comes to produce or sports, right? Only in your industry. So that's all I wanted to say about dogs being trademarked, the word dogs. But I'm going to follow up on that on Tuesday with you guys so I know exactly why the word is being trademarked, okay? Oh, well, I'm glad you learned something new today. You should get my trademark toolkit ebook because it has a bunch of tips and stuff on trademarking, and it's only $9.97 when you click the link in my bio in my e-store. Okay. All right. This is gonna be our last story. No, we got 3 more stories. Next story. Okay, I may be dating myself, but does anybody remember the show Wild America? It had 12 seasons and it aired from 1982 to 1994, and it is currently in syndication. And it's Wild America is like, a show about animals in the wild. They use a lot of slow motion takes, time lapse videos, things like that. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you think this is good to know, Haitian 420. I try to teach the people. Okay, so you got Wild America. They had this show in the 80s and 90s, and it's in syndication. And they had a particular style of teaching you about nature and the environment. And then Wild America is now saying that National Geographic is trying to steal their style. They're saying that you don't remember it, Tibet Ocean. That's fine. I'm dating myself. Hi, Kobe. So Nat Geo, they make all sorts of shows about the wild. Apparently, they filed trademarks for several shows, including Surviving Wild America, America the Wild, Wild Americas, The Wildest Americas, and Untamed Americas. So Wild America, the show, or the person who owns trademarks on them, is saying that National Geographic, they're not only like infringing on the name, but the style in which National Geographic is shooting their documentaries is very similar to Wild America. So they have filed an infringement suit and a copyright suit against National Geographic they're basically saying we own Wild America. So I want to ask you guys, now, while you may have never heard of the show Wild America, I'm sure many of you have heard of National Geographic. Have you ever heard of any of these shows like Wild Americas, Surviving Wild America, America the Wild, The Wildest Americas, Untamed Americas? Have you heard of any of those shows? Or do you remember any shows, if you've watched National Geographic, that might have Wild America somewhere in the title? Do you remember when you saw Nat Geo? Yeah. And you may not, but I think that this might be a little bit of, okay, you don't remember, or you don't remember seeing it. Okay. And that's cool. But here's the thing. Wild America, while they may have an argument, I think it's going to be hard to prove against National Geographic, because it's like, there's only so many ways that you can really shoot about nature, to me. Wild America is saying that National Geographic is stealing their style because they're using the same slow motion type of film, time lapse film, things like that. But I know plenty of other shows that use that type of thing. Like the Planet Earth series, I believe, was like super time lapse. I don't remember any of there's like tons of other nature shows where they use slow motion and time lapse. So can you really have ownership of that style of a nature documentary? And that would be my question to Wild Americas. So my question to you is, do you think that Wild America has an argument saying that National Geographic is stealing their filming style and trying to use their name? I want to know what you guys think about that. And while we do that, I'm going to remind you guys that you're watching NPL Legal Dish with Natalie Pierre-Louis. I'm the owner and operator of NPL Consulting LLC, business formation firm, where I help you get your business life together, get that business foundation together. If you are interested in me helping you get your business together, please book a free 15-minute consultation using the link in my bio. Linktree/NPL Consulting Firm, Linktree/NPL Consulting Firm, Linktree/NPL Consulting Firm. There you're also going to be able to get access to the trademark toolkit by going to my e-store. You're going to get access to my podcast, back episodes of this show by subscribing to my YouTube channel, and you will also be able to advertise your business where I sell 30-second spots for as little as $3. Haitian 420 said they're just mad. Yeah, they might just be mad because I don't understand. Your show was over. Your show was over in 1994, and you're in syndication. So you're not making any more new episodes. So I don't understand what the issue is. And Tibet Ocean 90 says, I'm not sure. Was there a trademark application? I'm sure there was. I don't have it in the notes here. I can follow up on that for you next week. Actually, I want you to go see if you can find, if you go to the USPTO website, I want you to go look around and see if there's a trademark for Wild Americas. That is your homework for tonight, Tibet Ocean 90. Okay? But regardless, even if there's not a trademark, there's some type of rights there, because this is a TV show that's being syndicated across, United States and probably the world. So I'm sure they've got their intellectual property rights together. But my thing is, you're not making any more new episodes. So why are you so pressed about National Geographic? Right? Okay. All right, so I'll let you guys put your rest of your comments in for that, and we're going to move on to the next story, which is really quick. You guys know that I talk to you all the time about counterfeits. We have stories about knockoffs and things like that. You know why knockoffs are such a serious problem? I read an article this week that said that a recent police bust got $3.4 million worth of counterfeit items, right? So if you think about people are purchasing $3.4 million of counterfeit merchandise, right? Think about how much that is worth if it was actual genuine money, or the money that these companies, the trademark companies, have lost because of these counterfeit products. That is why businesses are so, they're so adamant about protecting their stuff. And that's why I remember when I used to go to Canal Street in the early 2000s, and the police will be out there trying to catch you, trying to catch the vendors of the fake bags and stuff, because it is a big business and it takes away from other businesses. Comments: could be profiting off the hype of the old show. People might think it might be similar. That is a credible argument. That's a credible argument. Very credible. And Haitian 420 says nothing better to do. I mean, I don't know. I will never fault someone or think someone's wrong for defending their work or defending what they've created. But sometimes I do think that you have to look at the bigger picture of things and think about, is this the smart thing to do? So we'll wait and see what happens between Wild America and National Geographic. But yeah, so and also the article for counterfeiting that I read, they said that in 2018, over more than 1 billion with a B, more than $1 billion worth of counterfeit goods were sold. So think about that. Let's just say Louis Vuitton has 10% of that market, a $1 billion market. So that would be $10 million. Louis Vuitton lost out on $10 million because of counterfeit goods. So when we, and look, I don't look down. If you want to buy knockoffs, go ahead. I'm not a name girl, so I don't really care about that. You want to go buy your counterfeits, I'm not judging you. But when you understand why it is wrong when you buy these counterfeit items, because you're essentially taking money from another company. Yeah, it's a big company and they probably have a lot of money, but they put a lot of money into marketing to build that name, right? And if you put the money and the time to build your name, you don't want somebody going to copy it. So locally, I talked about this case. We have a brand here that has been built from the ground up. It's a clothing line. It's called Eat, right? And recently, another company opened a brick and mortar store, called it a different name, but used the same letter styling, 3 letters, that like it was obviously that they were at least inspired by this, right? Now, Eat I remember when Eat started. I know the person who started Eat, and I remember how hard they worked. And now you're going to come in out of nowhere and try and take the visual that identifies my product and use it to try to sell yours. I would be pissed. So that's why I don't blame these big companies for coming after counterfeiters. But, I also don't judge counterfeiters because I ain't paying $500 for a bag. All right. And we have one more case before we head out. Well, before I do a little bit of Q&A. And then we head out. So y'all, I'm sure that you guys have heard of, you remember the Fyre Festival, and there were documentaries of it on Hulu and Netflix. Well, Netflix, if you would too, yeah, I would too. If you watched any of the Fyre Festival documentaries, I want you to give me an F in the comments. If you watched any of the Fyre Festival documentaries. Ooh. Sorry, I'm like, my fingers bothering me. Okay, so if you don't know what the Fyre Festival is, it was a concert that never happened. It was supposed to be something like really exclusive, and Ja Rule was heading it up, and basically they stole everybody's money. And the originator, Billy McFarland or something, I forget his name, is in prison now. Anyway, they Netflix made a documentary about the festival, and they partnered with the same media company that partnered with this guy who went to prison, right? And the company is called Fuck Jerry Media. Fuck Jerry Media is always getting sued for stealing people's content and using it to promote their stuff. You remember Haitian 420? Good. All right, right? So they're always getting sued, and this case is no different. Both Netflix and Fuck Jerry Media are being sued for stealing videos from a filmmaker videos from a filmmaker that was used for, like, this was a filmmaker who was hired to kind of, film the party and do promo video, right? And then Netflix and Fuck Jerry Media took those videos and used it in the documentary. And the filmmaker said, well, you didn't ask me if you could use it for this documentary. You hired me to take promo video for this event. You didn't hire me to film for your documentary. So these were videos of activities of Billy and Ja Rule at a holiday, Billy and Ja Rule, holiday party for Magnesis, and just like general activities that were going around the Fyre Festival. And they did not get a license from this filmmaker. Now, here's the thing. They did hire her to take video at the festival for promotion. They did not hire her to take video for a documentary, but it's the same product, right? But she didn't give them the right to use the product in that way. And that's why copyrights are important. Copyrights tell people how they can use your stuff. All right. So this lady, she is asserting her right. She said, I made this video for promotional material. I did not make this video for your documentary. On top of the fact that Netflix and Fuck Jerry Media making millions of dollars and they probably owe this woman a check at least. So I just wanted to let y'all know, if you are going to use someone's media in your media, make sure you get their permission. It's very important. You don't want to end up in court like Fuck Jerry Media and Netflix. Because if they have to settle with all the money that they have, they might have to come off a very pretty penny, depending on how much Netflix made from this Fyre Festival documentary. So what I want to know is, what do you think about the Netflix and Fuck Jerry using the media content? Do you think that because they already paid her for, this promo video and they just use that same video, do you think that they have the right to use it in the documentary? Do they owe this lady anything? What do you think? And while you do that, I want to remind you that if you would like to advertise your business on my show, I am selling 30-second spots starting at $3. You can book that using the link in my bio, linktree/MPL consulting firm. You can also book a free 15-minute consultation there as well. So as you guys get your last comments in, we're going to do about 5 minutes of Q&A. So if you have any questions from the stories that we did today, do they have a contract? So I'm sure they had a contract with this lady for the promotional material. The problem is they didn't have one for this documentary on the Fyre Festival. Tibet Ocean 90 said they should have asked. I think they should have asked too. And this is not the first time that this company, Fuck Jerry, has been sued for this very thing. So what are y'all doing? Yeah. So any more questions about stories? Any questions about... And if you guys ever have questions on these trademarks and copyrights, please remember that I have ebooks on sale for that. You can go to the link in my bio and there is a button there that says check out my e-store. I have ebooks on trademarks, copyrights, intellectual property in general, contracts. Anything you want to know about business formation, I've got an ebook on it, and they're all under $10. It's not right. It isn't right. It isn't right. But people are going to push, people are always going to push the boundaries to see what they can get away with. And that is why we have laws, particularly intellectual property laws, because it's like, it's really, without these laws, it would be really hard to protect your ideas. And that's why people need to be vigilant about protecting their intellectual property. All right. So if you have questions about your businesses as well, or business in general, or another story that I didn't talk about, you can feel free to drop them in the comments. We've got about 3 minutes left. You're right about that. Thanks, doll. Yeah. So I'm always here to answer your questions. You can always DM me, book a free 15-minute consultation. What do I have going on? Again, like I said, I'm in the process of revamping some systems. I'm going to a business conference next week. I'm about to get my life and come back with some new stuff for you guys. Can't wait for you to see the new and improved MPL consulting. I want to apologize again for not being online yesterday like I said I would. Unforeseen circumstances, I had no way of getting online. Yeah, but I will be here going forward at our usual time, Thursdays at 6 p.m. Y'all know that I'm dedicated to this. I was even on vacation and I came on talking to y'all. So know that I'm dedicated to this. Oh yeah, you can't wait. I'm happy. All right. So I don't think you guys have any more questions. So I'm going to let you guys get to your Friday. I need to go wash this hair and make myself all beautified for the weekend. Can't wait to talk to you guys on Tuesday. We'll be here at 7 p.m. on Tuesday. All right. So have a good weekend. Chill out.